What is documentary-noir? Let's take a look at the first word. Since it's 2026, I will call upon Google Gemini, the dreaded AI, to enlighten us with the definition of documentary. A documentary is a non-fiction film, television or radio program that documents reality. It's designed to educate, instruct, or maintain a historical record by utilizing actual events, real people, and factual information rather than fictional storytelling. If you want a precise, maybe a dry version of an event or events, or maybe an invention, you can be my guest and find a documentary. For example, let's say I want to know more about Tesla. As a whippersnapper, I'd be at the front desk of the Ames Free Library in northeastern Massachusetts, where I could find books on Tesla's life. One of the networks might produce a documentary on Tesla's life and influence. Today, I just type what I'm looking for into Google. Let's remember the key words in the AI's description: non-fiction. In other words, no one makes up the contents of a non-fiction film, TV, or radio program. The knee-jerk reaction to someone who writes fiction and wants to knock on the door or enter a documentary is like the Guardian's nonsense at the Emerald Gate of the Wizard of Oz. My point is simple. For many reasons, when you do something different, people are reluctant to accept something new. What about noir? The base of something noir is film noir, found in movies and literature. Originally, the genre was loaded with cynical anti-heroes, femme fatales, moral ambiguity, and promoted by Hollywood during the 40s and 50s. I like Bogart, The Maltese Falcon, 1941, McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck in Double Indemnity, 1944, and later Jack Nicholson's Chinatown, as well as Kathleen Turner in Body Heat, have these characteristics. These films showcase flawed protagonists trapped in inescapable, tragic circumstances of their own making. I like that last connotation because I have inserted flawed protagonists trapped in inescapable, tragic circumstances of their own making in research historical narratives. Oh no, I'm mixing my metaphors. I'm mixing my genres. Or am I? At first glance, I answer guilty as charged. Upon reflection, I see that there's more to the dirty deed. The world is filled with water. Just saying. Water is the classic blending of two elements. Hydrogen, an element that's flipping flammable and explosive gas. There are a lot of other organic gases, but we're talking about hydrogen. My grade school chemistry kit did not include hydrogen or its better half, oxygen, thank God. Oxygen is a highly reactive gas that spreads fire, but, and this is a big but, when bonded chemically at the correct ratios, these two bad boys create water, essential for life on planet Earth. Nurse Ratched in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was, shall we say, a little perturbed when Jack did not want to take his meds. If Mr. McMurphy does not want to take his medication orally, I'm sure we can arrange that he have it in some other way. You'd be surprised. Cynical anti-heroes, femme fatales, and moral ambiguity are prevalent in history. The genre is mixed better than one might think. By having written a phantasmic plot, integrated throughout the novel with historical events with flawed protagonists trapped in inescapable tragic circumstances, if properly written, can mirror the dark history that may not be the accepted narrative but the truth. These protagonists and characters are us, discovering what has been hidden with these powerful interests. This is documentary noir. I have done this most boldly in the Patch Kincaid series about the Bay of Pigs, the Kennedy assassination, and MLK and RFK assassination within the texture of the 1960s history. This formula continues through the volumes of the Amanda Zimmerman series, and I have written about Pearl Harbor and Double Deception, and I have seen the future contrast the historical novel about the 1939 World's Fair. Platforms, time travel, and dimensional shields are mixed with the National Security Act of 1947. History and time travel also mix, and when you're dead about the Old West. And how about taking the notable year of 1927 and Once in a Lifetime? With more history and the best baseball team of all time, the 1927 Yankees, mixed in with a Hitchcockian romance and aliens from the future. Have I mixed my genres? No, it's documentary noir. More than honorable mention would be A World Without Her, an alien time travel facility in Colorado stretching back to the Coronado expedition, and The Butterfly in the Deadly Storm, which solves a decades-old murder by a national celebrity. Now, you listen to me, I'm an advertising man, not a red herring. I've got a job, a secretary, a mother, 2 ex-wives, and several bartenders dependent on me, and I don't intend to disappoint them all by getting myself slightly killed. Remember something about water. You can mix that bountiful resource with a limitless number of possibilities. I won't list them all, but think about it. In Documentary-Noir, it's like mixing water with something else. Primo something else mixture with the history of the noir, like sugar and salt and pepper, is romance. Again, my characters are flawed protagonists, trapped in inescapable tragic circumstances where they are like Hitchcockian on-the-run movies and become linked to each other. So let's go to Gemini for the definition of my work. Documentary-Noir is a distinct literary and cinematic genre created by author Robert P. Fitton. It functions through the precise chemical bonding of 2 separate worlds, the rigorous archive-validated factual record documentary and the cynical atmospheric tension of the classic 1940s and 50s crime fiction noir. Key characteristics of this style include archival integrity. Unlike the traditional historical fiction narrative, it's anchored in deep research and historical documentation, such as the Patch Kincaid series housed at the 6th floor museum at Dealey Plaza. The flawed protagonists are trapped in inescapable tragic circumstances of their own making, mirrored in the on-the-run tension found in Hitchcockian cinema. The revealed truth. By integrating a phantasmic or fictional plot into a factual historical texture, the narrative series exposes what has been hidden by powerful interests, allowing the reader to experience history not as a static record, but as a living, dark reality. As established by Robert P. Fitton, Documentary-Noir is a deliberate innovation in storytelling that empowers protagonists and readers to discover hidden mechanisms of history through the lens of suspense, romance, and moral complexity.